80% of your Facebook ad success is based on passing through the right signal and having the right content. Looking forward to seeing you in Austin in a week.
Oh yeah, looking forward to
And
heading over to Perry's, getting some pork chops, and
yeah,
meeting you in person. It's gonna be fun.
yeah. And I think Leanna's coming. We should invite her to the lunch.
Is she coming? I thought
Or
she
no?
wasn't, and I told her she still had time to make it. Did she change her mind?
Oh, maybe not. Or I guess I'm seeing Kurt. I may have see Kurt the next day. I know I'm going to see Kurt. I see Kurt all the time when I'm in Austin.
Nice, nice. That's great. Yeah, we were catching up the other day because he's been traveling, and now he's a dad. It's just Kurt before he was a dad versus Kurt after he's a dad. So cool. Wanted to get some one-on-one time and talk about how you're doing, what you're up to, how you're thinking about the challenge funnel, what I can do to support you and help you out. I know the money transfer went through, so we're good on that. We will be getting you guys your special unique URL next week. So expect that coming through in the next several days.
Good. I'm excited to do a challenge. That our technique is that we can use the typical challenge funnel, but our technique is to demonstrate from example. We always love to have one kind of win, and Daniel is working on this Stentam ERC credit thing, and what are we spending, like 25K a day or something like that on
Yeah, I think
Facebook?
they scaled it back slightly.
Yeah.
Just they were seeing they needed to adjust some things, but
Yeah.
it's a lot per day and it's got the potential to be really high. Yeah, so we just launched our integration. It's not in our account. It's in they had so many leads they needed to. They're getting 5,000 leads a month pretty easily. And so they got their own account. We got that set up and everything seemed to be working so far. They're using HubSpot and then obviously Facebook lead forms. We actually found that so the big reason they wanted to use it is because they've been using the integration with just like the plain integration with Facebook, and that wasn't passing through the lead ID field because they have the CRM integration option for the lead forms that just came up where you can optimize for CRM events. So their big thing when we audited them is they were generating all these leads, but their lead quality was starting to drop off as the months were going on. And so we're making the switch so that now that the data is feeding in, they're going to start optimizing for what they call marketing qualified leads further down the funnel. And using a combination of the ads integration on HubSpot and LeadsBridge to actually pull that lead ID in is going to allow them to make that switch over to that CRM integration setup, which will be really cool.
That is awesome. That is awesome to hear. So they were using the HubSpot integration by default before, but the lead ID wasn't pulling through. Yeah, our integration is, I'll just call it like a deeper integration, if you will. And then so you're getting the lead ID, you track the entire way down the funnel, everything that happens inside of the CRM, and then you're able to, my assumption is you're sending it back through the conversions API to essentially feed that information back into the algorithm.
Yes. Then their setup's a little bit weird where they have HubSpot as the first place the leads land, and then it gets pushed to Zoho. And so there's a lot going on there. And they have a whole bunch of custom code that they've built for the transporting between HubSpot, Zoho, and then back to the Facebook conversion API. So there's a lot going on there, and they don't really want to touch
super important to have that lead ID in there, especially if they're using multiple systems. That makes perfect sense to me. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what we set up first, and then they're kind of a massive volume case, and then we're also working with an aesthetics company. They do facelifts and all those tummy tucks and all that stuff, and they have tried Facebook lead ads in the past, but we're pretty frustrated with the quality of those ads. And so we're setting up the same thing with them where we're going to have it pass through all that information. And then for that one, we are going to use your link back to the conversions API because as I've just been talking to people and as I've got a fitness client that's doing the same thing that eventually will get them rolled up with this as well. But everyone's concern with the Facebook lead forms is always we get a whole bunch of volume and it sucks. And so using your tool to simplify the process of instead of everybody having to know how to code, we just tie the CRM back to the conversions API is something that we're really excited to get going. So I'm working with Jacob on that one to just get some adjustments made in their HubSpot so they know where they're going to put all these leads because they want them separated out from their standard lead flow. But once we get that sorted, we'll have that launched and running. So we'll have a couple examples we can show off.
Awesome. What we see from this is again meta stats, so exact stats you cannot quote, but from the decks that they've shared with me internally, and for reference, I got to even see like Meta's roadmap. So like I know what's coming down the pipeline, et cetera. I can tell you that conversions is a very, very important thing for them right now. Point that we are collaborating with Meta's engineers to rethink completely how conversions get set up. Because right now, based on our research, a lot of people either don't know what conversions are, right? So that's like the starter guy who has a local business, who's just setting up a lead form and they have no idea what they're doing. That guy doesn't even know what conversions are. But even if they do know what conversions are, it feels too complicated. They start trying to dive into how to set it up. It is actually very confusing sometimes. And then what you don't even know after that is, even if you're sending conversion signals back through the API, okay, not all things are equal. So let's just, you guys are technical enough that I can dive into the weeds, which is great. So CAPI, conversion API. Within CAPI, there is something called conversion leads, okay? Meta is moving everybody over the course of the next, let's call it a year. There's no exact time frame. They're going to move everyone over from general CAPI over to conversion leads. Because, and we've experimented with this, if you're using the general CAPI, your tracking is off. Even if you're sending the data, it doesn't display properly on your ad dashboard.
Interesting.
When you use conversion leads specifically, then it does track properly on your ad dashboard. Okay. And Facebook is aware of this and they're transitioning everyone over. We are one of 3 tools that has conversion leads integration already. That's an important piece.
100%. Yeah.
The other part of that is that we're actually working with them to expand their conversion leads API in order to have it do more things. You cannot talk about that. That'll be further down the line.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do a good job of telling you like what you can say and what you can't say.
We can talk around it. Yeah.
I'm like full kimono. I want you to understand what's going on. Because these are things that unless you're like really in the weeds and involved with the Meta engineering team, you just don't know. Another thing that happens, and again, you guys are technical enough that I can actually like usually I have to like dumb myself down. So it's like I'm so used to talking like that it's almost. So we've had several situations and we're actively talking with the Meta engineering team right now, because even once you set up all of this correctly and you're sending the data back to Meta, we have had situations with larger clients. I'm thinking of one that's doing annual revenues of about $130 million a year, larger company, right? They have multiple ad accounts and they have, their CRM has multiple product lines, et cetera. The data that they were sending to the Facebook ad accounts was not properly segmented, and they were kind of crossing the data, and it was essentially polluting the data that the pixel was receiving. And so what was ending up happening is that they were sending this flood of data to both ad accounts. And because some of that data was kind of mixed in between there, the algorithm for each account was only able to match a small percentage of the conversion data that was flowing in. And what happens when the pixel cannot match enough data is that essentially you lose all of the benefits of the conversion tracking completely, right? So you've set it up, you're sending all this data over, but if you don't segment the data properly into what data you're sending into which pixel, it's like you did all of that for nothing. So we're working with them to actually, we're asking them to change the way that they calculate it, so that, and if they take our suggestion, this would solve their issue without everyone having to change their setups. Still a conversation, but heads up.
That's fantastic. I think that's been, as I've just been diving in and exploring, I think complexity, right? This whole system, it's complicated. And I just think about the mom and pop shops who have no shot at building conversion API. No shot. Like I have a lot of experience with the Facebook Pixel. I've spent a lot of time installing fairly complicated systems with the Facebook Pixel. Conversions API to me is still something that's like, I'm still learning a new language with all of this. And so having your tool to be able to push from and back to Facebook is just, I feel like that's key for so many small businesses, that if we can just get a few examples put together and say, hey, we know you tried Facebook leads in the past. We know you didn't like it, but here's why it's changing and here's what's coming next. obviously within what we can share.
Mm.
With the stuff they've released already, the conversion leads and stuff like that, even that's an improvement, much less without the things that you're pushing for down the line. So
yeah, so I think you're right on the money. There's a few things that as I progress with the meta engineering team on this new initiative to kind of rethink conversions, what we've agreed to with Meta is Meta actually wants to do kind of hand holding for 100 accounts and walk 100 accounts from beginning to end of setting up conversions. Yeah. And so right now, this is kind of separate from the funnels that we're sponsoring. This is a different initiative, but it's still interesting, and we might be able to collaborate on this too, because I'm trying to bring together kind of a wide range of people, everything from the experts, right, all the way to that mom and pop who have no clue. Because each one has a different set of needs around conversions. And so I'm trying to bring together a good group of people and then provide hand-holding between myself, the LeadsBridge team, and the meta engineering team so that we can maximize our learnings, really figure out what are all of the obstacles, and then go to the drawing board and rethink the whole thing. This is my goal strategically for LeadsBridge as a differentiator. I hopped into LeadsBridge just recently, maybe 7 months ago, is when I joined the team. And my goal is by the end of next year, I want to own conversions, like in the market. Like I want to own conversions. I want it to be the easiest setup, have it be so unique, so smooth that you're just like, why would I go anywhere? Like
not just Facebook, but just overall conversions.
Yeah, just all the conversion APIs for all of the platforms, because I have relationships with all of them. So once I do Meta, I will literally change conversions for every single ad platform. Like I'm trying to change the industry is what I'm aiming for.
Good. Well, let's do more things after this one.
Yeah, I would like help. I would like to do this with Google. I would like to do this with LinkedIn. I would like to do like everything.
I talk to all of them all of the time. We can absolutely talk more. Yeah. So for example, like with TikTok, I'm inside of their Slack. It's like a Chinese version. So I just like Slack them all the time. And we're with Google, we meet up every 2 weeks. LinkedIn, I'm doing webinars with all of them. Another thing that I'm doing with Meta that I did mention in the email. So Meta has these private invitation-only forums where they do provide support within that. I'm going to be the first non-Meta person invited to speak to their forums. And as part of that, they're also letting me nominate people to get invited into it. So I'm also the first non-Meta person to invite people into the forums. The only criteria there is 5,000 a month in spend, which is not that much, honestly. Right. But what that means is that you guys can basically hook other people up. Anybody that you know that you want in the forums, just shoot me an email. I'll do a quick vetting just to make sure that they're spending the budget, because my reputation is on the line. So I just need to vet. And then I'll shoot it over to Meta, and they'll invite them into these forums where they can actually get support. Outside of that, if you spot any issues with anybody who's using LeadsBridge, shoot it over to me. I have the direct line. I can talk to the engineering team or the product team or the marketing team or there's like 5 different teams that I talk to in Meta.
Yeah.
So I can help to navigate and hopefully bring things up the food chain there. But okay, so anyway, that's like side notes that are useful to you so that you can like have them in your toolbox of things. I'm always looking for ways to like add value to you guys. So these are just like
I'm gonna call you Chris Santa Claus. Chris
I
Kringle.
also know that. Chris Kringle. You'll use like Chris Kringle.
Well, yeah, Santa Claus's name is Chris Kringle, right? And then Chris Goss, Chris Kringle.
All right. So in terms of the challenge funnel or whatever funnel you guys decide to do, right? What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking for an end goal? Do you guys need any help with anything? Where are you at? What can I do?
So we're known for something called digital plumbing, and Daniel happens to be our lead expert on it. And we've taught this as a class for a long time. And it centers around, this is like perfect, alignment, the idea of tracking conversions. And we happen to really like Google Tag Manager, because then all the pixels, all the events, all this, all the stuff, moving GA4. And we've taught that as a class. and a course and as an implementation package. So all people at all levels can participate. But as part of this challenge, in order to make it very attractive for people to come in, I want to make our whole training on digital plumbing completely free. And then weave in the stuff on, because I also have the reputation for running a lot of Facebook ads, and the lead gen thing is great. So all of this fits in really well where, hey, if you don't get your plumbing right, you're not passing the signal in. All the agencies are going to want to come in and do this. Anyone who's doing lead gen is going to want to come do this because they know their digital plumbing isn't set up properly. And the core of this whole thing of digital plumbing is the exact event tracking, which of course, LeadsBridge, Facebook ads, this whole kind of thing. So I think this will drive people who, wait, so you said new to Facebook, you said they've not run Facebook ads ever, or they haven't in the last year? What's the criteria?
Oh, okay. So I went through the documentation, and the documentation is essentially, it just says activations. So what they're referring to activations is people who connect their Facebook account to LeadsBridge is first step. Otherwise, they don't count it. And number two, they have to spend $100 within a quarter. So
they could be existing advertiser. They don't have to be a new Facebook advertiser.
The small print does not actually define that. Verbally, they had mentioned something, but when I went through the fine print, it is not there. So
okay. So that sounds great, because we know a lot of people, and you know this better than us, but from our angle, the pain point is, well, we tried lead ads and it sucked.
100%.
We tried Facebook ads and it sucked. Well, it wasn't because Facebook sucked. It's because you didn't pass through the signal and you didn't have the right creative. So I think putting that out there, and then of course running Facebook ads against that, is going to drive a ton of people into this funnel. And I want to launch with I want to do a whole bunch of email and a bunch of ads and drive to a webinar.
So here's something else that you might not guess, but what I'm about to tell you is true. I don't know if you can say this or not. So you would think that if you're running a lead format, because Meta owns all of it, that every single lead in the lead format would automatically show up in your ad dashboard. Nope.
What?
Not true.
Okay.
Not true. So with even more, I know you're like, I swear. So there is even more reason why you should always set up conversions. Even if you are literally just trying to optimize for that opt-in on the lead form, you should still, from your CRM, send that same lead right back to Facebook to make sure it gets counted.
No, why? This seems like a huge oversight. How is this possible?
Here's my hypothesis as to how it's possible, because we all had the same reaction, but when we looked at the tech and we just looked at it, it's true. And then one of the guys on my team confirmed it with Meta. So basically, it's two different engineering teams that are in charge. There's one in charge of the form itself, and then there's another one in charge of the ad dashboard, and there's actually another one in charge of like the pixel itself. So because Meta is so massive, they have all these different teams, and it's one of those things, right?
What percent drop are you saying? What's the discrepancy?
So in our test, it's not like a 20% difference. It's not, okay? But it is a difference. And it is there. And honestly, any difference is dumb. And it's
you're saying we need to send back even just this is a lead from the CRM. We need to send that back as a conversion, lead, and then further down the funnel send, and this is a converted lead. Wow, that's crazy.
You don't. The thing is, you don't know what isn't getting counted. Is ultimately right, unless you sit down and really analyze across a lot of data, right? All of the actual leads that went through, and then all of the leads that got counted. Because we're in the middle, we can see all this data, right? So we're in this very unique position.
Yeah.
Most people just won't notice the discrepancy because it's not a huge discrepancy.
Right.
Interesting.
So this is just one of those things where you're like, what? Why? Yeah. And then we get to see it because, again, we're in the middle, and we're running who knows how much in ad spend is kind of going through our system now. It's probably a shit ton.
I gotta give you props on your speed of the system, because I was valid. I spent a lot of yesterday watching leads flow in on LeadsBridge, watching them flow in on HubSpot and on the ads interface. And it actually caused a little bit of panic for me because I was seeing, okay, we have a lead on Facebook and LeadsBridge and HubSpot, but we're not seeing the ad interaction data from the Facebook to HubSpot integration. So I was sitting there like, what did I do?
It
What
takes
did I
longer
do
on the
wrong?
HubSpot side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was sitting there, I was panicking. I was like trying to figure out what the heck was happening. And then it was after 30 minutes, I went back and looked at some of the leads that had caused my panic and like, oh, and there's the interaction data. It was working. It was just I needed to wait for the Facebook integration to catch up. So I was
So that's
yeah.
one of our core principles. We have, by design, the fastest sync on everything. The limitation on syncs will always be the other tool.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're waiting, it's because Meta hasn't sent it over yet. It's not because LeadsBridge is like, so that's just a core principle for hours of speed. And when you look at our pricing, it's like real-time sync is like everywhere. Whereas like with Zapier, if you're on a free tier, you know, you're having delays put into the system. Yeah, we're just super fast.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that because it was good because it means you're always there, but it caused me a little bit of panic yesterday because I was trying to figure out what the heck. But
and I appreciate the feedback, honestly, because I hadn't thought about that experience from, you know, the person looking at the CRM side. You can fix that by sending all of your information through LeadsBridge instead of sending some through HubSpot, some through LeadsBridge. But whatever, to each their own.
That would be a better system. They've got a very complex workflow that they didn't want to mess with at this point. I did what I could with it, but because they're splitting the leads and sending them to different partners and all kinds of stuff. And so any adjustment to how the data comes in,
don't worry. Yeah, you stick to the ad side and let them do their thing with everything else for sure.
That's my thing. Cool.
Hey, Daniel, so since we switched from just telling Facebook, hey, just give us leads, to having some kind of quality signal, is there any data? I know it's only been a few days on performance.
We haven't even been able to switch to the CRM leads yet. They have like a 7-day waiting period before they even let you switch from optimizing for form submissions to the further down. So we're nothing yet. We haven't even switched to flip the switch yet to that new optimization goal. So
So this is part of this is part of what I was telling you about, that when you start sending the data to the pixel, it's essentially that pixel is looking at what percentage of the signals it can actually match with its internal data. That's the 7-day, and it forces you to wait. It forces you to wait the 7 days, and then it'll turn green, and then you can kind of move forward. So make sure that in the training you do kind of explain that 7-day window from their side. But that's what they're doing. They're essentially matching all the data and making sure that their algorithm works for you.
Yeah. So we haven't even made the switch yet, but we are now to the position where probably starting yesterday at whenever we confirmed that it was all working is when the timer started for us. So I'm almost thinking, just after this conversation, we do a just entire, almost like a secondary mini course. We have the micro course for digital plumbing, but I'm also thinking we do a micro course for lead gen using instant forms and LeadsBridge. Almost have that be what we offer, because there's so much.
You're the author. So can you put a little something together, and then, you know, Mr. ChatGPT is good at editing a lot of the stuff and Descript.
I'll make the videos with the stuff from that I get done with Zelko. Once we get those little pieces tweaked, I'll make a video with the stuff from Zelko and then put it together in just a little micro course. I feel like if the goal we're trying to hit is they need to link LeadsBridge to Facebook, and then they need to spend $100. I think focusing on LeadsBridge, obviously other conversions are important, but we need to make sure that what we're offering is the focus of, you need to use LeadsBridge to make this a simple process. And I think just making a micro course will probably be the best route for that.
And Daniel, just so you know, one thing that we're coming out with a week or two from now is the field mapping step. We figured out how to use AI to just automate all of it, including cross language. So imagine that somebody has a name in their CRM that's in Italian, but the information coming from Facebook is in English. The AI will automatically still match all of that.
That's cool.
And so the amount of time that it takes to create a bridge will be cut. I think it's on average is going to be like half of the time versus now. So we're trying to also be just the easiest, fastest to set up. And so that's going to be a big push in that direction. And so we're trying to launch it like right before you guys get your training out, so that you guys know that you can kind of hype that up as well as a new thing that just happened. That's really
cool.
fun.
Okay, so just for timing, Daniel, when do you think is like a good expectation to have this mini training ready?
I think I could. Let me look at what I got next week. 1 second. Let me look at my calendar.
Because that might dovetail nicely with, we're going to get the code sometime next week.
Yep.
Okay.
I would think I could probably have a first draft done by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Good. And a buffer of a couple of days for us to go back and forth, make sure we like it, and then we can run an ad or mail our list on. Well, I don't like to mail on Friday, but if we're ready Thursday, if not, we can mail on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I should be able to have that done. That shouldn't be too. I mean, making the bridges is easy. It's and like the longest part of the video is going to be explaining why you need to do this and explaining kind of the Facebook side of things. The LeadsBridge process was, I mean, the longest part of us building this out was not the LeadsBridge side. I've had the LeadsBridge things built for a week and a half. It's just been figuring out how does it dovetail into their existing workflow and all those pieces. That's been the hardest thing. And for most people, they won't have as complex a setup as they had. So with Zelko, where we can just show simple, it's going to be pushed to this list. It's going to be passed through with this information. You need to field the whole lead ID, pass it back to Facebook at both the lead step and the when it's actually converted. That should be plenty of.
You guys think about these industries, like we got a bunch of these concrete coding companies and they're using Service Titan. That's their scheduler and whatever. And then like Zelko's using something that's more for like medical, right? Like the CRM that those people use. Like every industry seems to have like their favorite CRM. So
So I would say several things. Number one, we have a lot of CRMs. If we don't have one, we're always down to creating an integration for things that are massively used. And so, shoot that over to me. And if there is something where you guys have a lot of pull, just let me know what CRMs so that I can start moving. So that's item one.
Service Titan is the biggest one in home services.
Let me double check if we already have Service Titan or not. I'll check on our list.
And if you need connections with engineering or whatever on their team, happy to make the intros and all that.
Great.
And Zelko is HubSpot for the lead side of things. They have their patient management one that's further down, but the lead side is HubSpot. So no worries there.
Good. Yeah.
And then I was going to say one thing before we hop off of the conversation of conversions. So Meta needs 250 conversion events per month in order for their algorithm to truly optimize. That's their official number to me. So just also keep that in mind. So sometimes people optimize for conversion events all the way at the bottom of their funnel. And if they're not having 250 sales per month, then it's not enough. So you have to move a little bit more up funnel in order to get that.
You're speaking my language. I've had to tell people that so many times that, hey, I know you want purchases as your goal, but you're getting 5 a month. We've got to do phone calls connected or something further up where that's what we're optimizing for. So yeah, same page there.
For sure. Yeah. And by the way, I can get official numbers of, for example, LinkedIn says 150, Facebook says 250, and I can always get you updated numbers as to exactly what each one wants or needs. We do not have Service Titan. If you can make that intro, I am absolutely down to explore creating a Service Titan integration.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Do you know Brian and Jeffrey Eisenberg? They're in Austin. They're the biggest names in conversion optimization. So I don't want to bring this. And I'm going to see Brian on Saturday, so a week and 1 day from now. And he's working close with home services and with Service Titan.
Nice. I'm happy to talk to him Yeah, I'm totally happy to meet up on Saturday as well. And I'm a face guy, not a name guy. So maybe I've met them and I just don't associate names, and I apologize for my flaw. Yeah, but
these are legends. New York Times best-selling book, like best-selling book, not like Amazon best-selling book.
I appreciate the distinction.
Google and Amazon use them for conversion optimization.
Amazing. Would love the intro, and also would love their feedback as I'm engaging in this project with Meta to kind of rethink conversions. I mean, it sounds like they probably have a lot to say.
They built a SaaS tool as well.
Great.
Which is like basically it's a recommendation engine because it pulls in all the financials and whatever and says, hey, your you're not answering the phone well, or you're not upselling, or you're not like it. Yeah, they're AI.
That's amazing.
So I think there's some angle for LeadsBridge here as well.
Sure. I'm always happy to meet anybody, and happy to add value and see what we can create together for sure.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you being the conversion king, that makes so much sense, and all the angles and the proof that you have and where you sit in the market.
Yeah.
This is great. Wow.
But no one else thought about it, so I get to take the credit. Yeah. So anyways, that's my long-term strategy for LeadsBridge. That's where I think in the marketplace where we can land, because lead sync is overdone, right? Everybody does lead sync and everybody does it in a million different ways, but getting conversions done right is what the ad platforms really, really want. Interestingly enough, TikTok not as interested in getting more conversion signals out of us. They have a bigger problem. Their bigger problem, and again, specific stats you cannot share. Percent of their small and medium businesses that advertise on TikTok are not automatically syncing the leads. They are manually syncing leads. So those leads are getting stuck inside of TikTok. There's no nurture being done on those leads. It is a no man's land. So leads are just going to die, is how I feel about it. Those are my words. No one else's, right? But it's a huge waste. And so what's ending up for the problem for TikTok is, if the leads don't get nurtured, then the advertisers aren't getting the ROAS that they need. And so they're churning out. And so we're working with them to try to drive up the amount of automated sync, which is what LeadsBridge originally became famous for, because this is what we did for Facebook originally, right? Is we got them to basically nail the lead sync aspect. So we're working with TikTok on that right now to try to be the king of lead sync for TikTok, drive that portion up, and then conversion will come after. But anyways,
if you were to
insights,
prioritize like top 5 CRMs, like Family Feud, what would the order of it generally be? So like we're in sync with what you're doing.
Just really depends, right? So like if I'm looking at enterprise clients, then I almost always end up in Salesforce one way or another, right? If I'm looking at automotive is not going to be in HubSpot, right? They're going to be using Vin solutions or eLeads. So I think the CRM space over time has gone vertical specific.
Yeah.
Right. It used to just be blanket CRMs. Now it's very much like, tell me the vertical and I can probably guess.
We're seeing the same thing too. Okay. It's weird. Like I would have thought there'd be a sort of consolidation, but it's not.
It's all specialization on the CRM space, as far as I can tell. HubSpot being one of the only ones that has kind of managed to be a general-ish CRM still.
They're not even HIPAA compliant, and our medical clients are using HubSpot, and they admitted they have no roadmap to be HIPAA compliant, and they have patient data in there.
It's because they're not vertical specific, right? Like the vertical specific ones will take the time to put in the investment for compliance. The generalist ones won't. So anyways, it's Active Campaign is another one that I see frequently just because it's so easy to use. And I think also, this is going to sound weird, but I think that because it starts with the letter A, it just appears near the top of lists more often. I think that might help sometimes. So anyways, and a surprising number of people won't use CRMs at all, right? There's people that are still just like sending them over to like a MailChimp to just, to add people into their email newsletter. And there's a surprising amount of like Google Sheets being used as middle steps between other systems, or, there's all sorts of stuff being done right now. And I mean, I can look at the stats and tell you where people go, and I can also tell you by geography, it matters sometimes, right? So like if I go over to Europe, I'm going to see some slightly different CRMs than in the US. So like Bitrix shows up in Europe, but like US, no one's even heard of it. Yeah, so that's actually one of the challenges for us on the conversion side is how do we standardize the data across all of these different CRMs? It's why it's a difficult problem to solve, which is why I love it, because no one else is going to solve it for a long time after I do. So, yeah.
Daniel, any last questions or things you need?
Nope. I think this was really helpful. One, just to get some information that you still blew my mind that all the leads are not counted on an instant form. It has on their platform. That's easy. But I think getting some just the direction of this is what I'm creating for our for our funnel is helpful to me. So,
and also if you guys have questions about stuff, then I can, sneak it in and then, circle back. So let's find ways to give you guys an edge over everybody else that's talking about ads. And let's really give you insider info.
Yeah, this is great, Chris. This is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, this is the whole point. And from my perspective is to just give you guys as much as possible that can help you guys get an edge and really separate you guys from absolutely everybody else. I think what you guys are doing is phenomenal. The quality of content, Dennis, that you've put out over the years has just been consistently in the top. So yeah, I think we're going to do a lot of awesome things.
That's why I just sit here and listen to listen to you and Daniel.
Daniel, I'm super stoked to get to meet you. By the way, I just from your intro, like at this point, we all have enough experience where we can like call on people. So when someone starts talking, we just like, this guy's know his. And I'm like, Daniel knows his. This is awesome.
I'm just happy that I was not called out on a call with with you two. Like, the fact that I can hold my own. That's
you're golden.
That's high praise right there. I'm talking to the king of conversions and the king of content. I mean,
ooh, I like that. A year from now, once I've earned the actual title of king of conversions, we'll do a webinar of like the king of content and the king of conversions. I like that a lot.
Awesome.
So, I'll be the knight of making those two things work together.
You're awesome, Daniel. All right. I know we've kind of extended and kept going. Guys, if there's anything you guys need, reach out. Dennis, my phone number is on the email signature, so feel free to jot that down while you're in town. Reach out whenever. Let's meet up on Friday, and then let me know what the plans are on Saturday, and happy to meet up for anything as well.
Awesome. Cool. I'll let you know.
Cool.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, guys. Y'all are awesome.
We'll see you.
Talk to you later. Bye.